Welcome to this week's New Money. I am Tracy Chang. Folks, have you ever thought about hiring a personal assistant? Someone who can be in charge of your schedule and help you allocate your precious time on worthy activities. Well, as it turns out, there's an app for it. And today we profile a company that makes a calendar application on your mobile phone that helps you track pretty much anything you want to do.
Yu Qiao, like most other young Chinese, is an avid mobile phone app user. His favorite is 365 Calendar. Whether he needs information on upcoming classes, shopping mall discounts, or movie ticket sales, this app has all the information he needs. Yu Qiao uses 365 Calendar mostly because of its public calendars, but the app also allows users to establish private calendars. These can range in size from couples or families to entire companies or schools that wish to better organize their schedule.
Our company has many job interviews, and we have a group calendar where we put our procedures and schedules. This makes it easy for the interviewers to look up times and manage meetings. I think 365 Calendars, group calendars, can help a stable group manage its time and greatly increase its efficiency.
The PC version of 365 Calendar came out in 2008, and in 2010, the mobile application was ready. It has now been activated on over 150 million devices and has several million active users every day. The app's mobile users grew 400% in 3 years, from 20 million to 100 million, setting it apart from the rest of the market. Zheng Jingping, a professor at Beijing University of Posts and Telecommunications, who studies different calendar apps, shares his views on 365 Calendar.
Their content is very well matched. They have all kinds of entertainment, and it's very well done. They have performances, student gatherings, sales promotions. It's all done very well. I've been watching it, and I think it has great potential. I also noticed all the things it can do, how it can be combined with new technology like mobile technology and cloud technology.
On March 25, 2015, Pan Shiyi, one of the big names in real estate in China, gathered a group of young internet entrepreneurs in Beijing to discuss the internet's influence on the real estate industry. Among the invited was this enthusiastic man, the CEO of 365 Calendar, Genan.
To be frank, we don't feel like we have a lot of competitors. There are actually a lot of calendar apps. It's a simple product. We started out with a calendar that was a multi-platform personal assistant with an underlying algorithm, which really didn't leave us with a whole lot of competition.
In the beginning, 365 Calendar struggled with low stickiness. With relatively few loyal customers, it was hard for the team to define a clear business model. Today, the app has been transformed into a complete information platform that allows users to invite friends through their group calendars. The added users and new functions have allowed the company to stake out its own road.
Folks, just a reminder, you can use your smartphone to scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen to follow CCTV News' official WeChat account. There you can find the latest and previous episodes of New Money as well. Well, efficient time management is a big challenge to a lot of people. 365 Calendar is a great tool to help its users effectively manage their time. But a calendar isn't exactly a new concept. To help us better understand what's so special about this particular calendar app, Professor Jia Ning joins me in the studio, and she is the Deputy Director of the China Business Case Center at Tsinghua University. So Professor Jia, help me to understand this here. The CEO said in the video that we just watched how they don't have a lot of competition. And I really find it hard to believe because a lot of phones these days have built-in calendars. So tell me what I'm missing here.
Well, I think 365 Calendar really had a good market timing when the company started out. You know, the product actually came out at a time where it was essentially a blue ocean, where the only alternative available are those built-in calendars that come with the smartphones. And at that time, we know this, those built-in calendars, they usually just serve the basic functions. They don't really have a very user-friendly interface. So when there was an alternative product like 365 Calendar that came out with more functionalities, with more friendly user interface, it was easy for the company to grab customers, right, and build up a large user base very quickly. But as you mentioned, nowadays, all these built-in calendars are also becoming more sophisticated, and the user experience are also much, much better. So it's actually eroding, I think, 365 Calendar's competitive advantage. So this company now will have to work a lot harder in order to differentiate itself from these built-in calendars.
That's right, because it's so convenient to just use your calendar on the phone, right?
That's
Instead
right.
of downloading this
Another
new
one.
app, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So 365 Calendar is a utility app. What are some of the main characteristics of a utility app?
Right. Well, I think there are three main characteristics. The first one is these apps tend to have a large user base. So unlike game apps that are only attractive to a certain demographic or age group, utility apps typically have a large user base because they pertain to people's daily needs. Right? So we're looking at a large market with a large number of users. And a second key characteristic is it has solid demand. Everyone needs a calendar now and then, right? So the demand for the product is quite persistent over time. And the third characteristic is actually it has little value added. This is actually a challenge for this kind of app. That is, it doesn't matter how fancy you make the user interface look, how complicated you make the product look, but at the end of the day, it's still a calendar. So there's only so much you can stretch in terms of its functionalities.
So Professor Jia, for utility apps like 365 Calendar, it doesn't seem like there's a very high entry barrier.
Right.
So for someone, if I want to start a company that makes this kind of apps, what are some of the things I need to consider? What are the main challenges?
Right. Well, I think there are several main challenges here. Number one is revenue model. So even though utility apps generally have a large user base, but how do you effectively transform that user base into positive revenues for the company? That's I think that's a big question mark. Because in China, the user habit is such that people do not like to pay for utility apps. Usually you can download these apps for free, right? So
people don't like to pay for anything.
That's true, right? So if you can charge your customers directly for your product or service, then you will have to find other creative ways to generate cash flows.
Sure.
So I think that's one concern. And the second concern is actually the frequency of usage. So people use calendar only needed, and they tend not to actually spend a lot of time on these calendars. So how do you increase the frequency of usage as well as the duration of usage, in terms of the amount of time people are willing to spend on the app? I think that's another
That's
challenge.
right. You don't browse around a calendar forever.
Exactly. It's not like a news app where you basically, you're on it 24/7,
That's
but
right.
utility app, you only use it when needed, right? And another challenge is loyalty. Users generally have very little loyalty for utility apps, right? As long as it gets the job done, it doesn't matter whether it's a 365 calendar or 366 calendar, right?
That's
so
very
the
true.
brand doesn't really kick in this particular setting. And a fourth challenge is switch cost. It's really easy to switch to a similar app, right? All you need to do is just delete the current one and download a new one.
So it's hard to create this customer stickiness that we're talking about earlier.
Yes.
Mobile-based applications are playing an increasingly important role in our daily lives. But with new apps popping out every single day, competition is rather intense. How can 365 Calendar stay competitive? We'll find out when we return. Stay tuned.